City. Great stuff.
Okay, here we go.
All right.
Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Bert.
Hey!
Fat Albert. and Bruce McGowan.
Hello, everybody.
There you go. Okay. Now, before we get into all this great stuff, Vernon reminded me that there's a little bit of news about Kanye West.
Kanye West, yeah, right here in the Bay Area. Kanye West, he goes out in the middle of the week. He rents out AT&T Park. You must know Larry Bear, who's the head of the Giants, but rents out AT&T Park. The lights go up at 10 o'clock. Jumbotron on, everything on, as if it was like a game being played. All that to propose to Kim Kardashian.
Holy
in
smokes.
front of a 50-piece orchestra. Now Kanye, he's got a show. He had a show at Oracle, so he was in the air. It's not like he jumped on a Gulfstream jet, flew up from L.A. and did it, and whatever. He was already here. But man,
Should have done it during Candlestick when the 49ers were playing.
what do you think about? We're all old fogey married guys. I mean, it's supposed to be like an emotional, intimate kind of thing. But to use a sports arena stadium for something like that, what do you think?
I don't think the marriage will last for a long time. But then again, I'm not close to these people. But I mean, Kardashian and Kanye West is a talent, but Kim Kardashian, what is she talented as? What does she do that has any value?
Had one heck of a sex tape. That's
Yeah, but I mean, how long is that?
on the scene.
How long is that going to last? 5 years? 10 years?
We should take bets on that.
10 years from now, will anybody even remember who she is?
Probably not.
Not that many.
But you were saying that anything associated with Kardashian.
Yeah, Forbes magazine, Brucey, it came out with an article apparently where anybody just don't connect yourself to the Kardashian brand because it's ultimately bad for you.
Well, you remember
it started with the husband dying, right?
Right.
The father.
But wasn't
Robert Kardashian,
Yeah.
the father.
Wasn't he one of the guys that defended O.J. Simpson?
Yeah, Robert Kardashian. Yeah.
I
He
mean,
was
that
on the defense team.
tells you something right there.
But these daughters, I mean, they live and breathe and survive on the big PR machine.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been able to, cranking out fragrances, clothing. I mean, everything. I mean,
Sure.
it's just all.
I
They've
don't
been
know.
able to just ride that wave on it.
I find that a symptom of a society that has really gone in the tubes. I sound like an old fogey, but it's true. We value that kind of stuff. What does she offer?
Yeah, well,
Nothing.
Well, she made the tape with Ray J. How'd that work out?
What is that? What value is that, Vernon?
I
To
don't
anybody?
know.
I know. I'm speaking. That's a rhetorical question.
She's with Reggie Bush. How'd that work out for him for his career?
Well, for fun. It's probably fun for a while.
Yeah, well, I guess.
I'm sure she's a very nice woman.
Chris Humphries, how'd that work out for him?
Now,
Yeah.
now that one I don't know. Who's that?
Chris Humphries from the
Basketball
NBA, New
player.
Jersey Nets.
Oh, the New Jersey Nets.
Was
Okay.
actually
Oh,
married to
yeah.
him.
Oh, geez.
What about Mr. Kardashian, old Bruce Jenner?
Bruce, yeah.
Man, he was the stud.
How do you like
back
that
in
facelift?
76.
He was.
Don't like it.
The world's greatest athlete in
Well, he was a
1976.
good-looking guy.
On the cover of the
very
Wheaties
good-looking.
box, the
Yeah.
whole
And his
thing.
wife? Do you remember how good
Oh,
his
yeah.
wife was?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Good-looking couple. I mean, when you start losing your looks, you get and vanity kicks in. It's. I can see it.
That's
But-
why,
but-
that's
but-
why
but
I'm
truth-
lucky I
but-
never had the
but-
looks
but-
to begin with.
But truth be known, in defense of Bruce Jenner,
Yeah.
he was best friends with Robert Kardashian at the
Oh,
time.
is that right?
And then when
Okay.
Robert was on his way out, one of his dying wishes was for Bruce to please take care of my family.
By
He did.
marrying her?
Why?
Okay.
All right. Well, whatever. We don't know the details behind this, but it's interesting. I just don't find it very. I don't know.
Well, before we got on the air, because you were mentioning about the AT&T park, about renting it out. How much did it cost?
Couple of hundred thousand
$100,000.
was the figure I was throwing just to rent out
Wow.
the park.
And for
Wow.
years ago, remember, for I think his birthday, Michael Jackson rented out Disneyland.
Yeah, but that's just a couple million to rent out
Yeah,
Disneyland.
that's
That's
just dropping
that's
the-
chump change.
Chump change for him. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. 200,000 though really doesn't sound like a lot when you think about how much weddings cost.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. This isn't the wedding. This is just the proposal.
This was just to throw up the jumbotron. Hey, marry me, please.
Yeah, but you know
Right.
what? He just
And-
set
and-
the bar
and-
for the rest of us.
And he probably didn't have the whole park for any more than maybe a couple hours,
Oh,
something like that.
Probably, yeah.
I know I'm going to throw cold water on this, but I look at what society's going through today with all these people who are unemployed and they're just barely getting by, and I hear this kind of stuff, and I think That's really obscene.
You know what?
It is.
I think it's the new normal for the nouveau
Yeah.
rich. They have
Yeah.
so much money, Bruce.
Yeah.
It's like Monopoly money. You know,
Yeah.
it just.
You know, I
just-
would have
just
rented out my
measures-
house for $150,000.
Yeah.
You got a nice place.
Well, thanks, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's quite AT&T. I mean, now my wife and I, what we didn't redo the ceremony, but we did redo photos.
Nice.
Oh, you did? Oh.
Yeah, we
that's
flew to
cool.
Hawaii.
Yeah,
And
that's
it's funny.
very nice.
Yeah, it's funny because people saw us, and they, we were all in the wedding, so oh, congratulations and all that, right? And I'm trying to explain to people, well, this is kind of our reach. She goes, shh, they're buying us drinks. Just let them continue.
There you go.
Hey, since we're dipping into our personal lives, where'd you pop the question to your lovely wife?
Well, my wife asked me.
Really?
Well,
All right.
I kind of. No, I asked her at Coit Tower.
Nice.
Coit Tower. How about
Very
you, Bruce?
Puerto Vallarta.
Puerto Vallarta.
Yeah.
How about you?
Cabo San Lucas.
There you go. That's
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good spot. I mean,
Yeah, that brings out the romance. Now, the thing is, you guys had that planned for quite a while.
I planned mine, yeah.
My best friend told me. He said, you better. My oldest friend told me. He says, you better ask that woman to marry you because she's not going to wait around. And I just thought, he's right. She's not. And now, probably 19 years later, she's wondering, what did I get myself into?
I feel kind of bad because the woman I dated before my current wife, it's like I got the AAA seasoning in order to go to the bigs.
Yes.
I just
Yeah.
it's like I got it, and then I got the show, and then I got my
Well,
wife.
we dated for almost 8.5 years.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, but she was a lot younger, though.
Well,
She was only 10. So. Okay, let's move on for a minute. Okay, so I don't know if you guys had seen this, but Carolina Panthers defensive end Greg Hardy says that he could beat LeBron James one-on-one.
Come on. What is that?
He's
What's
not
that all
talking
about? He's just
football.
having fun, right, Bernard?
Oh, gotta
know.
be. I mean, come on.
Okay, now Hardy is 6'4", 290, and
Uh-huh.
James is 6'8". I think he goes 250.
Yeah.
Something along.
LeBron James did say that he wanted to play one NFL game because he's big enough to be. He's big enough to be a defensive back.
He just, he gives out a lot. He deals out some punishment on the floor. But how many times does he collide with people on the floor? Not that often.
Well, I mean, there were a couple of famous collisions during the NBA playoffs last year. I mean, where he just the super slow mo collide, and then your body knocks back. Yeah.
Now I'm old enough. I don't know if you guys are old enough to remember this. Back in the early '70s, they used to have during the NBA Game of the Week, they would have a one-on-one game that they would play between two of the top players. Like Rick Barry would play Dr. J, and they would play for a game till 5 or 6 or 7. It was a halftime.
Oh my gosh, that's right. I do remember that.
Yeah, it was done in a, it was pre-taped, but it was a lot of fun, and they had probably 30 guys take part in it, and all big names.
NBA version of the old home run derby.
I was just thinking of that.
Yeah.
Watching Mickey Mantle against Willie Mays.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is about, I guess it's about 71, 72, 73. Right
So
around
you said
there.
it was taped, so they didn't actually do a live.
No.
Yeah, because
Well,
the guys are playing.
I mean, they cut out some of it, obviously, because they had
Well,
to.
they cut out all the dead time.
Yeah,
in between.
Yeah, I mean,
points.
it's like I think it was about a 10-minute, program, maybe 10, 12 minutes.
No, to bring that back, man, that'd be cool.
That would be cool.
If you go on YouTube, you could probably Google it and find it.
I want to see Earl Boykins versus LeBron.
I love Earl Boykins.
I know, he's
he's a
cute.
good ball player.
Okay, we are going to cut to our first commercial break again.
Already?
Yes, we are.
Man, time flies.
When you're
Yeah,
having
we
a
got
good
to all
time.
these other things here.
Yeah.
The first, let's see here, first commercial break, and the theme is football quarterbacks. All right, who was the first 4,000-yard passer? Okay, the first 3 callers with the correct answer win a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Their website is lighthouseforfun.com. Call 888-660-4495 to answer this question. Who was the first 4,000-yard passer? 888-660-4495. Make sure you include your name, your email address, speak slowly, spell out your email one letter at a time. Don't touch that dial because Sports Econ 101 will be right back. And I'm looking at the guys. They backed away from the microphones, and they're kind of scratching their heads. They're pondering. Okay, we will be right back.
It's either.
All right, it's got to be an AFL quarterback.
I'm thinking it's Kelly or Marino, one of those two.
Not Namath?
I don't think
Boy,
so.
he threw a lot,
He
man.
did throw a lot, but I don't think he threw over. I think it was.
He threw up a lot.
He threw up. I'm thinking it was. I seem to remember when Marino went over 4,000. That was a big deal.
It was a big deal.
I think it was an 80. The year they
84,
Or the
3,
year
83?
No, I think it was
Rookie
84.
year?
No, it was 84 when they played the Niners. and the Niners smoked them here. They beat them 36-14, I think it was. I was there. I covered that game. And I remember the Dolphins. Everybody thought the Dolphins were going to give the Niners a real battle, and it wasn't
That
a battle.
'83 class, it was a hell of a class, man.
Oh, God.
That was the year that they played
At Stanford Stadium.
rain.
Yeah. It wasn't raining. It was just foggy and cold.
But
Yeah.
the
It wasn't
field was
nice.
not
It
good
wasn't
shape.
real great. Real perfect weather, let's put it that way. John Schrader's daughter was born that day. He missed covering the game.
Trade.
He's doing very well. He is a full-time
Is he in
professor.
Nebraska?
No, he's a full-time professor at Long Beach State.
Long Beach
He moved
State.
down there. He got out of the radio business. He does still some soccer, TV, and basically teaches journalism.
John Schrader, wasn't he part of Dukes of Hazzard?
Different John Schrader. Yeah. Okay.
You
All
guys
right.
ready?
You got it.
The time goes fast. Okay, here we go. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Vern Glenn and Bruce McGowan.
Yes.
Okay, the trivia theme is football quarterbacks. Question: who was the first 4,000-yard passer? Bruce.
I had thought initially it was Joe Namath. I figured, it's an AFL guy. Namath threw a lot that first year back in the day. But Brucey, you might have it right on the money.
I'm thinking it's either Marino or Kelly, and probably Marino.
Okay, I'm going to do my best. Howard Cosell, because that's what I'm going to Joe Willie Namath
It
from
was.
Beaver Falls,
Wow.
Pennsylvania.
Hey, all right.
Very good.
All right. That deserves a high
1967.
five. Very good.
Okay, and
Well, it's the
You
AFL.
know,
I knew
that's
it was
true.
all offense, and I
Yeah.
knew they threw a
Yeah,
lot.
They did.
I just
That was an exciting brand of football. I grew up an AFL fan because we used to go to games at Kezar Stadium in the 60s once in a while, and the fans were so rude, and the teams were the 49ers were mediocre, and my dad finally said, let's go over and watch the Raiders. And the first game we saw, there were Tom Flores and Jack Kemp, later the congressman and the senator, and staged this incredible game with Buffalo against Oakland, and we were hooked. And I just, my dad wasn't hooked like I was. But then 2 years later, they win the AFL title, go to the Super Bowl, and the rest is history.
there was a great documentary on Showtime. I wish they would run it again on the early years of the AFL. It was great.
with the
Great.
white ball.
Get great color video
Yeah.
of all these uniforms. Some were kind of zany,
Yeah,
kind of out there.
the
The cheerleaders.
The Broncos had the vertical stripes on their pants, or on their socks, I should say. See, Bud Adams just died, the longtime owner of the Titans and Oilers.
2 days after Bum Phillips.
Yeah, 2
Which
days
we're
after his
going to
former
get into
coach.
Bum Phillips
Yeah.
in just a minute.
Okay.
Oh, wait, Bum
But I
Phillips.
mean, think about Bud Adams. He was back in 1960. He was associated with that team from 1960 till present day. That's 53 years.
Yeah, got him out of Houston and got him into Tennessee.
That's longer than Al Davis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on for a minute here. Grambling.
Oh, yeah.
Oh man.
And it's sad.
The school they canceled Saturday's game against Jackson State.
Mhm.
After disgruntled players refused to travel. Did you see some of the pictures of the facilities?
The facility, it's been really, really shoddy.
Yeah, that's a shame.
I still
Yeah,
love
there's
watching them
stories
on,
of, like-
Sunday morning. They used to have best of Grambling, like Notre Dame and all that.
Yeah, stories of mold and decay
Yeah.
and just the conditions really, really shoddy. They were already upset that the school had fired Doug Williams,
Now, is that the same Doug Williams?
Yeah.
Yeah,
from
the
Washington?
same, yeah.
Okay.
who was a great quarterback at
Yeah.
Grambling State for
Yeah.
Eddie Robinson.
Oh, that's right.
And then they brought in the interim coach, and they let him go.
Yeah.
And they just had enough. And so they're supposed to go to play Jackson State. It's Jackson State's homecoming.
That's a big game.
And they go, no, we're not going to do it.
That's a shame. How long was Eddie
Yeah.
Robinson at that place?
Forever and
Yeah.
a day.
I mean, we're saying forever, 40 plus years, 50
Gotta
years?
be at least, yeah.
Wow.
So, I'm wondering, because I didn't read the whole thing, were the players, they must have been bringing this up to the administration before. They didn't just spring it on them and say, oh, by the way, our facilities aren't good, we're not going. It's sort of like, when a union goes on strike, they kind of warn them ahead of time and say, hey, look, do something about this, do something about this.
Now, here's my question, being Mr. Cynical. I mean,
Cynical.
they haven't won a game all year, so 0-8,
Yeah,
right?
That doesn't help.
You trying to tell me if they were 8-0,
Yeah.
they go, no, we're not going to get on the bus.
Well,
Hell no, they get
That's
on
a
the
good
bus.
point.
You know what?
That's a good
Of
point.
course they get on the bus.
I hate to use the overly used phrase, the cycle of life, but everything has its time, and unfortunately, I guess its time is not anymore in terms of football.
They retired of the bus rides.
Yeah.
I guess almost 200 miles in the
Yeah.
bus rides, and
Yeah.
And I mean, but let's just face it. I hate to say it, it's Grambling State University. I mean, you are. I mean, it is for Division I football, and there's 256 Division I schools. They're at the bottom of the total. They're at the dregs of the coffee when it comes to big time Division I football. And I'm sorry, I mean, bus rides are just gonna have to be it. I mean, it can't all be Alabama.
It reminds me of the old days of the AFL. That's where the AFL got a lot of their players. Places like Grambling, places like Morris Brown, they would get the African American players, and that's one of the reasons why the NFL, although they'll never admit it, was very reluctant, I think, to welcome the AFL, because the AFL had a much, as Edward was pointing out, all the passing and colorful players. And that sounds like a racist thing to say, but colorful in terms of just their style, their personality.
You know how you meant
that. But I'm just saying.
Speaking of colorful and racist, what about the whole Washington Redskins thing? Wow, this is really taking on a life
when I was a kid.
Of its own.
George Preston Marshall was the owner back in the 40s, and he did not integrate that team until 1962.
They were the last ones to integrate. What did they get? Bobby Mitchell.
Bobby Mitchell in a trade from Cleveland. And Bobby Mitchell.
Yeah, Bobby Mitchell. Yeah, he was in the same backfield with Jim Brown.
That's right.
And they traded Bobby Mitchell to the Washington Redskins.
Well, and his question, or his answer to, when are you going to integrate the team? He goes, we'll integrate the team when the Harlem Globetrotters allow a white person to play.
Oh, God.
That's kind of stupid, because the Harlem Globetrotters is it's specific to that.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the kind of guy George Preston Marshall was, and unfortunately, he was owner of that team for over 2 decades. So that kind of thing, institutional racism hung on. I know I get off on a tangent here about that, but it's.
I'm sorry.
Did Jack Kent Cooke take that buy that team directly from?
I don't believe. I'd have to check on that. I think George Preston Marshall died in the late '60s, early '70s, maybe. But
that might have been right around the time.
I was holding my tongue for a long time here, but I got to bring this up.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't like the word African American. You're American. Yeah. I'm not European American.
Yeah.
If you want to color, I'm white.
Now it's black, white.
It used to be when I was a kid, people that were Negroes.
Yeah.
Then it was black, and now it's African American. It's everybody has a different saying. I don't know. What do you call the majority of people who are white in this country? We don't call ourselves Caucasians.
And that's the thing. See, I hate the label.
Yeah, I think it's because because we're white people are the majority, and they just automatically think, why are you calling yourselves this or that? Because what do you think?
I think we're just so PC conscious today. There's always going to be a faction of people that just want to complain and they just have a problem and just are offended by anything.
Well, listen, if there's 50 black people in a room and there's one white guy, and someone asks me, hey, point out the specific guy I'm thinking about, I would say he's the white guy.
Right.
Because, it's easier to determine, so it's like when there's 50 white people and there's one black person, I don't have a problem saying it's the black guy over there. Because I'm not using it as a...
Right.
It's interesting you bring that up, because my wife was born in 1970. She was raised in a much different time than I was. So whenever I mention so-and-so and I talk about him, and then I'm trying to put an image in my wife's head what this person, what they're black. And I might mention he's black. What does that have to do with anything whether he's black? Oh, it doesn't. I just thought I'd throw it out there. I don't know. And she's right. Why do I mention it? Because I was raised at that time where we live in a segregated society.
That reminds me of a story. This tells you about the kids today. One kid, I won't mention any names, he was describing one of his friends to his father. And he's like, Bob was there. And the father's like, Bob? Yeah, Dad, Bob. Bob. Wears the funny hat, kind of wears it kind of backwards, and wears the baggy jeans. God, just doesn't. Come on, Dad, Bob, kind of funny guy. Tells like, finally Bob comes over, Asian kid. But I mean, kids, they just don't look at it in that.
Well, and I think the lines have been blurred in so many areas now. So many people are doing so many different things, interrelated, culturally, racially, economically. I mean, the world is just so much smaller because of I hate to say it, the global markets.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you think?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Anyway,
moving on for a minute here. Okay, so Bum Phillips.
Yeah.
90 years old.
Yeah, good life.
Goes ahead and dies, right?
Yeah, good life.
Okay, now I've got a bunch of quotes.
Wade
here,
Phillips at his side,
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
defensive
that's-
coordinator for the Houston Texans.
Great coach.
He's a good guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I still remember Bum and the big
Sure. The big
was
Ted
it?
Gallo
Big
hat.
cowboy hat, yep.
Cowboy hat. Okay.
Coached Earl Campbell.
Yeah. The dungarees
Oh, yeah.
and the checkered shirts.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, then there's a reference to Earl in here. Okay, so here's a bunch of quotes. There are two kinds of this is Bum Phillips saying there are two kinds of coaches: them that's fired and them that's gonna be fired. Okay? The harder we play, the behinder we got.
That's yep.
Let's hear. Dallas Cowboys may be America's team, but the Houston Oilers are Texas' team. Because I never scrimmage Oilers against Oilers. What for? Houston ain't on our schedule. And then he says to an official, "Hey, can I tell you one thing? That's 3 holding penalties on one football team in a quarter and a half. That ain't funny." And then let's see here, referring to Oilers quarterback Warren Moon. That boy could throw a football through a car wash and not get it wet.
Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah.
Okay, and then when asked about Oilers running back Earl Campbell's inability to finish a 1-mile running in training camp, when it's first and a mile, I won't give him the ball. And then he says here, when asked by Bob Costas, I love this one. Well, okay, when asked by Bob Costas why he took his wife on all the Oilers road trips, he said, "Because she's too ugly to kiss goodbye."
Oh, man.
Oh. The first NFL game I ever covered, 1975, was a Raider-Houston game. It was not an important game late in the season. Raiders had already clinched. Houston won on the final play of the game after a penalty gave them the ball down deep. And I heard Bum Phillips was talking to the reporters, and I'm sitting there with my mic, and I guess this tight end named Mac Alston just made this perfectly easy catch. The Raider defender was completely out of position, blown coverage. He goes, "Yeah, he just pulled it in like he was picking a grape." You know, and I was just thinking that's apropos. You know, just pulling it off the vine.
And they could not beat the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh,
Yeah,
that was the one team they just couldn't get over.
Hold that thought. His last one was respect all and fear none. Okay, second commercial break. Trivia question is football quarterbacks. In the 1990s, who was the only quarterback to pass for 4,000 yards 4 times? First 3 callers with the correct answer win a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Their website is lighthouseforfun.com. Call 888-660-4495 to answer this question. In the 1990s, who was the only quarterback to pass for 4,000 yards 4 times? Again, 888-660-4495. Don't touch that dial because Sports Econ 101 will be right back.
That had to be Marino, right?
I don't know.
4 times in the 90s?
Yeah, I don't know. I did.
I think you guys had through all the
But,
time.
but I thought by that time he
His rookie year was 84, so
83 actually.
by the time 90 hit,
Yeah.
that's 6 years in the league.
I just don't. I remember him putting up good numbers, but I don't think it certainly wasn't Young. It certainly wasn't Aikman, even though they had great numbers because they didn't have to throw the ball out that much.
No.
And I'm trying to. And the thing was after the salary cap went into effect, after the '94 season, I think it was, then we had all these different. We've had so many different teams that have been at the top.
What about Elway? Could Elway have
Well,
been
yeah, there you go. That's who it was.
Elway could have done
It
it.
was Elway. I bet you it was. Because Elway was the quarterback of the '90s, really, when you think about it. He got his team into 5 Super Bowls total. Won the last 2. Got blown out in 3 of them, the first 3. But you remember?
LA went to 5 Super Bowls?
Yeah, he lost to the 49ers. He lost to the Giants.
That's right.
He lost to.
Did he lose the 49ers twice?
No. The 49ers beat him
Oh, they lost
55 to 10.
Oh no, they beat Green Bay.
Beat Green Bay and they beat
Atlanta.
Beat Atlanta, but before that they lost to the 49ers and they lost to the Giants, and there was one other game. Oh, that's going way back. I'm sorry.
No, you're thinking of Craig Morton and Orange
You're
Crush.
thinking about you're thinking about the 78,
So 2 and
19,
2.
whatever. Yeah.
I think no, he did lose.
I think he was one of the 4.
Cleveland. Anyway,
No, Cleveland has
no, I was going to say I remember they beat them twice in the
Oh, those are the great. Those
Yeah.
are the great
both
playoffs.
great games. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Here we go. All right. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. I'm Edward Brown, your host again. Vern Glenn.
Yep.
And Bruce McGowan.
Hello.
When we got to the second, you guys crack me up. When we got to the second commercial break, we asked this trivia question. Again, the theme is football quarterbacks. In the 1990s, who was the only quarterback to pass for 4,000 yards 4 times? Bruce.
Well, Vernon said John Elway.
We were guessing John Elway during the break.
That is not correct.
Ooh.
But we did mention his name earlier.
Mentioned
Marino? Oh,
Yeah.
Warren Moon?
That's
Moon.
right.
Wow.
He put up some great numbers there a couple
Oilers,
years.
the Vikings.
Yeah. He was fun to watch.
Oh, he was
Boy,
great.
he was great.
Love
He played
watching
till he
him.
was almost 40 years old.
Yeah.
You know, what's he doing these days?
I hear him on the radio doing games all the time.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I think Jacksonville's looking for him.
Wow.
No.
No, they could use him.
Poor
use him.
Jacksonville.
Yeah.
I know. Poor
They're going to
guys.
get destroyed.
You're gonna. Man.
That exhibition in London.
Yeah,
was
enjoy
gonna
your
be-
London trip.
Yeah, boy.
Jeez.
Well, they couldn't even beat the Raiders. You know, I mean, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's terrible. I like the Raiders.
I
Because they
know.
have no hope this year with their offensive line beat up. I mean, they have no offensive line.
Where's it?
They'll beat Pittsburgh, won't they? Sunday. They'll
yeah,
beat
you know, like Terrell Pryor, who can run out of trouble, was sacked 10 times.
Come on,
last
Pittsburgh at home. They're down.
year.
Come on, they
Pittsburgh came off.
gotta be able-
They're coming off a big win, and the Raiders did have a bye. So I think you're right. The Raiders will win, but I don't.
Let's
think
see what Allen is like when he has 10 days to prepare.
Yeah.
Who's
For the
the
Pittsburgh
big guy? I think he's hurt though for the Raiders.
Feldier?
Jerry.
Is that his name?
Yeah, the big-
Well, there's two guys. There's Veldier and there's Wisniewski. Wisniewski has been playing most of the season, but he's been hurt. Veldier has not played at all, but he will be back. Veldier will be
Yeah,
back.
those two were
6'9", 350.
Yeah.
All muscle or something.
He's
like that.
a beast.
big old hunks of beef.
Yeah.
You wonder why those guys just aren't defensive. You know?
Well, some of them, yeah.
I want to see
fast
those.
enough.
I could just sit, open a beer, and just watch those guys eat. I just want to see.
I travel with the
just
Raiders
to
on the
see what they consume.
I traveled with the Raiders on the road. I was with our broadcast team, and we used to get to go in the training room on the road, or the training table, or whatever you call it, on the road, and eat with the guys. And you would not. And on the plane, we get on the plane, and they start serving food. We hadn't even taken off yet, and they're serving food. And the guy next to me, who was a big guy, not a football player, he's eating the food. And I'm thinking, what about dinner tonight? Oh, I'm still going out for dinner.
Sure.
Wow.
Well, I bet they consume 8,000 to 10,000 calories a day. I wouldn't be surprised. And in fact, there was a story where 4 linemen went out to like an IHOP, and they just looked at the back of the menu, and they just said, "Bring us one of everything."
Yeah.
One of everything on the menu.
Lincoln Kennedy, one of the nicest guys, and you know Lincoln.
Oh yeah, big one.
Great guy.
Yeah, does sideline reporting for,
for the
on the
Raiders.
Raiders radio
That's
network.
right. He's about 6'8", but I think when he was a player, he was about 300.
Yeah.
Great player. But I always used to look at Lincoln after the game. He just had this kind of tired, unhappy look on his face because it wasn't.
Because they lost all the time, except
Well,
for
no.
02.
No. But in 2000.
Well, I mean, during the Gruden years, they won all the time.
Well,
but after
also,
that,
even Bill Callahan in the first year they won. But I mean, there were a lot of years.
Gruden's playbook, though.
But I was just saying,
But go
he
ahead.
got. I mean, you get beat up so much in that game. You just do.
You know, as a lineman, yeah.
Yeah, and even if you're a big guy, you're getting that.
Oh,
There's a lot more places for somebody to hit you.
By the way, I'll say this: the offensive linemen, some of the smartest, most intelligent,
yeah.
best interviews.
Yep.
Period.
No question.
Oh man.
Randy Cross used to be a go-to guy. Guy McIntyre, Steve Wallace,
How about Bubba Paris?
Bubba Paris was
They
terrific.
give you good, concise,
Yeah.
15, 20-second sound
Yeah.
bites. I mean, wasn't these
Yeah.
these backs against the wall, one game at a time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
My
it was-
old- he was right about that.
My old
Cliches.
roommate used to be the financial planning guy for Bubba Paris and Michael somebody, who's another offensive line, just huge. And he says the three
Michael
of them,
Carter.
But yes, I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
That's right, exactly. And he says one time the 3 of them are playing racquetball together
Oh,
in one
wow.
court. And he goes,
The whole court was
yeah.
shaking, probably.
Yeah. Well, you could barely move. All 3 of them took up the same.
I saw Michael Carter
He was good.
I saw him with one of the writers, I think. Oh no, Jerry! Remember Jerry Walker, the PR guy for the Raiders?
Sure.
They're at some event, and Michael Carter looks pretty good. I mean, he was not a big guy, 6'1", about 270,
No,
but
he
a
was good.
great nose tackle, one of the best
Yeah,
for a couple of years. They called him the Eye in the Storm.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on here. The World Series is on decline with viewers. They say here television ratings for the best of 7 contests have been on a fairly steady decline in decades. So last year's matchup with the Giants and Tigers, posting a modern low of 12.7 million average viewers per game, contrasting to the 1986 Mets Boston with an average audience almost 3 times.
Well,
You got the New York and the Boston market. I mean, there you go.
That's
True.
it.
I mean, once the Giants and Tigers were in it and they lost the New York market, then forget about it.
And especially before games.
Nobody watched it.
That didn't really help.
Not outside of San Francisco and Detroit, or baseball. There are baseball fans. That's the thing that drives me up the wall, though, Vernon, and Edward, about these sports is that baseball is such a great game. It doesn't, it gets enough coverage with television, but it doesn't need to go to play games at 11 o'clock at night East Coast time. That's just wrong. I mean, finishing a game at
8 o'clock my time.
I mean,
that works for
the
me.
game is over at midnight for crying out loud.
Sometimes 2 a.m.
How can kids watch that? How can kids stay up and watch the World Series?
But we don't care about that. We're on the West Coast.
They don't care about the kids. You know why? Not in the demographic, Bruce.
Yeah, they don't got the
Well, that's
18 to 49, baby.
that's
the lifeline.
That's the whole problem with
The
it.
advertisers. That's
the
it.
whole problem with it, man. I'm telling you, I'm from a different generation, and it just.
Well, that's why they don't have as many day games.
Yeah,
right?
I know.
So they said here partly it has to do with baseball generally falling victim to the growing interest in other professional sports.
No question.
And you have here football and basketball, of course. And I think soccer, too. They didn't mention that, but I'm sure
Soccer's got a huge following. It doesn't have the great numbers, but there are a lot of people that keep up with it in this country. Keep up with the European leagues, the Premier leagues.
No, that's true. And with all the immigration, too.
Yeah.
A lot of Americans down there. Okay, so they also mentioned here that, I don't know, I'm not sure about this, the strike of 1994 is still looming over a lot of people's heads.
It is.
I remember 95 and 96 kind of going.
You got to remember, though, as Vernon was saying, the demographic, I mean, there are a lot of, baseball is followed by a lot of older people still that are fans, and they pass it down to their kids, but 94, terrible damage to the game.
Yeah.
Terrible. But you notice, no strikes since.
No, that's true.
No liver strike.
They said here, finally, the advent of cable and satellite era with its explosion of channels and viewing choices has made it hard for almost any sport.
Well, that hasn't just destroyed sports. That's destroyed local television.
Yeah.
It's destroyed everybody. I mean, the DVR usage is through the roof now.
Yeah.
I mean, hardly anybody watches their shows in real time. There's just too much going on, and you got dual family incomes. Both parents, both work. You got to get up, and if you got kids, it's even worse.
Yeah. I guess the Super Bowl still gets, most people want to watch it live.
It's on a Sunday,
yeah.
where most people are off.
And they plan their day around it, yeah. And the World Series is a long event. It's 7 days. It's all at night. I mean,
football is made for TV, baby. I mean that's
well, in 1970, that's when football overtook baseball with the Monday night game of the week, and also you remember the AFL merged with the NFL. Super League all of a sudden, and Howard Cosell came along.
Wait, was that the year that they merged?
Yeah, 1970 was the first year. Yeah, 1970. The last year the AFL was around was 1969. Kansas City Chiefs lost to the Minnesota Vikings.
No, they beat the Minnesota Vikings.
I'm sorry, beat the Minnesota Vikings. You're right. That's right. You're right.
Sorry.
And
all depressed for a week.
Were you?
Yeah, I was a big Vikings fan. I loved Alan Page and
like Joe Cap.
The Purple People Leaders.
Yeah.
I was depressed 2 weeks
Chuck
before
Foreman,
that.
the running back.
I was depressed.
That was before Chuck Foreman.
I was depressed the week before that because they beat the Raiders, who actually finished first in the league that year.
What? That was partly why
they had an extra
my Raiders lost.
Well, they had an extra playoff game that they played, and they did that so that they could compete with the NFL. And the second place Chiefs got to play the first place Jets in the East, beat them in a defensive struggle. Then they came out to Oakland, beat the Raiders in a defensive struggle.
Now, I did like Buck Buchanan, but.
And Willie Lanier and Bobby Bell, Johnny Robinson.
Yeah, but you got Len Dawson and Ned Podolak.
Lenny Dawson. I've gotten to know him a little bit, slightly over the years because I've met him a few. Nicest guy you'd ever want to meet.
And I interviewed him once.
Great guy.
Was it in Kansas City?
Yeah, he's a sportscaster. I think he just retired.
You know what?
Back in KC.
I interviewed him in Buffalo. It was the night or the day before the Chiefs Bills AFC Championship game.
Wow.
Montana's last game.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. You were at that game?
I was at that game.
Cool.
Well, because that was the whole plan. Because I was with NBC Cron back then. The whole plan was for Gary Radnich, who I worked with, to go on the road with the Niners, and I was going to go on the road with the Chiefs, and they were going to have this big collision course. It was supposed to be, Montana against Young, and then what happened? Niners lose to the Cowboys.
And the Chiefs
lose to the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah. And I don't think it was that close a game.
O.J. Simpson's last game.
That's right. Yeah.
Is that right?
As a broadcaster for NBC.
His last game as a broadcaster.
Yes.
Wow. How he fell.
Woo! Just a bit. Going back for just a quick second to the Chiefs, they're the only undefeated team left.
Correct.
Yeah.
What do you think? How much of a chance they really have?
No.
No chance.
No.
I mean,
No,
Alex
no
Smith
chance.
is doing well.
I'll say the 72 Dolphins, they got that champagne on ice.
Yeah.
Well, look at that.
Won't be chilling that much longer.
What was it? The Patriots.
You
a couple
just, you
years
just
ago.
wait,
Yeah.
you just wait till they play Denver.
Yeah. What Patriots are 15-0 or 14-0.
They won every
Dude,
game
they went
except
to
the Super Bowl.
they went to the Super Bowl 17-0
That's right. You're
or
right.
18-0
And lost in the Super Bowl.
Lost, yeah, because the Tyree
man.
catch.
Yep.
Oh, that was amazing. Up against the helmet.
Yeah. Don't
What a,
remember that.
what a play.
It's so funny because you ask people who made that catch, everyone says Plaxico Burress.
No.
I didn't know David Tyree.
And David Tyree is out of football too, I believe, isn't he? I don't hear
As
that.
is Plaxico Burress.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but Plaxico had some great seasons. But David Tyree had his moment.
Yeah,
It's like
right.
Dwight Clark, he was a great
Yes.
player, but boy, that everybody remembers that
That
catch.
catch.
That's the iconic moment of Bay Area sports, still to this day.
I wonder if he rolls into a San Francisco restaurant if he has to pay for a meal still. Probably not.
Probably not.
I think that actually turned out to be more of a bad thing than a good thing for him. I really
Why?
do. Well, because he's had a lot of ups and downs in his life, and
Some bad business deals, I know that.
Yeah, his marriage went sour. He's coming back though. Dwight's a good guy. There's a guy that Vernon was talking about people to go to. Went back in the '80s. We would go
Good old
to.
Southern boy, just
Yeah.
always has a smile on his
Yeah.
face.
Like Harris
Always
Barton.
one of those
Yeah.
glass half full guy. I love
Oh,
him.
he was great. He was the Jerry Rice before Jerry Rice. He wasn't as good as Jerry Rice, but almost.
Well, he was
almost.
he was a tight end.
No.
He was a wide receiver.
Really?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
funny.
Dwight
Yeah,
Clark
I
was
just-
a
I
great
think
Yeah,
of him
the
as
story
size.
was
Great wide
the
receiver.
story was Bill Walsh was going out to Clemson to work out the quarterback.
we're both having
Slipping. He
Yeah.
went to go work out a quarterback,
Right.
and
I remember the story, but I just don't remember.
and he used Dwight Clark to throw to,
Yeah.
Oh,
and
I
he
forgot
liked
about
Dwight
that.
Clark. Ended up getting them both.
Yeah. Actually,
Not
Dwight Clark's first year, the 49ers had their worst year
Oh, yeah.
in history, 2-14.
79?
79. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Worst
Remember
year.
that.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, we're going to cut to our third and final commercial break here. And again, the theme is football quarterbacks. This one will probably be an easy one for you guys because we kind of stumped you on the last one. Okay, who has the record for yards passing with 5,476? First three callers with the correct answer win a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Their
Single season passing record.
Single season passing record 5,476. And the first three callers with the correct answer are going to win a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Check them out at lighthouseforfun.com. Call 888-660-4495 to answer this question. Who has the record for passing yards with 5,476? And for the audience, you can't see, but both guys have their hands behind their heads. I know this one. And I'll give you a
Yes, we
hint.
do.
I think you guys know this player. I mean, of course you know this
course we
player.
know
That's
this
not really your hint.
Yeah.
Make sure to include your name, your email address, speak slowly, spell out your email letter your email one letter at a time. Don't touch that dial because when the Sports Econ 101 comes back, we're going to answer this question, and then we've got a few thoughts for the day and a few closing comments.
So fairly recently, right?
Well, I think it's got to be.
Like the last 10 years?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty sure.
So it's got to be.
It's Drew Brees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got to be
It's
something.
Drew Brees because I think they're making a big deal out of it. I forget
Yeah.
which game he did it, but he broke Marino's record.
I just always thought a lot of the stats in football, I mean, they're not the same as, I don't know, maybe I grew up in
Well,
a different era.
there's more games, and the offensive philosophy is for more passing.
Yeah. So it's kind of a belying statistic because if you're throwing them, I'm not saying that you're not a great quarterback and do that, but chances are you're putting the ball up in the air 55, 60% of the time.
Didn't they say Drew
Brees?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Drew Brees.
Drew Brees, thank you.
Yeah.
That he's incredibly accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's not, and by quarterback standards, he's not as tall as your average
Yeah, it's true.
NFL quarterback. Is he even 6 feet?
I don't know.
Does he have a super strong arm?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he can throw
Make
like
all the
75
throws.
yards or
Oh,
something.
Still
yeah.
with San Diego, right? Still with the Chargers.
Started with San Diego.
Started with, I'm thinking of
Saints.
Rivers.
Saints.
Guy I'm thinking of Rivers.
Phil Rivers, yeah.
I wanted to go to that Sunday night game, Raiders Chargers. Turned out to be a
I
great
was
game.
there.
I wanted to go. It turned out to be a great game, but I had to work the morning shift for Rich Walkoff.
I had not seen the Raiders. That's the best I've seen the Raiders play for 2.5 quarters.
Terrell Pryor.
And since 02.
Yeah, Terrell Pryor was amazing.
They just
When they
And
got
it came
that.
out like gangbusters.
You guys ready?
Here we go.
Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Vern Glenn
Hey.
and Bruce McCallum.
Yes, sir.
And our trivia theme, last commercial break, has to do with football quarterbacks. Who has the record for yards passing with 5,476? And I'll tell you now, it is not Jamarcus Russell.
No,
Well,
hardly.
It's fairly recent, and you got it, Vernon. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, he played well for me for fantasy football when I had
there
him.
you go.
That would be Drew Brees of the
That-
New Orleans Saints.
Yes, that is
Yes,
correct.
very
Drew
good.
Brees, very good.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I think you're 2 for 3 today.
No, thank you.
You're
That's not
on a
bad.
roll.
Well, my game, baby.
That's it. Okay, just a couple of quick comments here. Rice named to college football committee, and we're not talking Jerry Rice. We're talking
Condoleezza
Oh,
Rice.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now I don't know. Apparently, she must know a lot about
She's
football.
a huge football fan. I went
Major football
Yeah.
fan, knows a
Yeah.
lot about the game, and she is the only non-football related member of that selection committee.
I went to school with her at the University of Denver. She
Really?
dated one of my fraternity brothers, and her dad was in charge of the African American Studies department, and she was just a prodigy. And I used to think, this woman looks kind of young to be a senior in college. She was 19 years old, where the rest of us were 22.
There you
So
go.
she was a smart kid,
Very
and
smart.
she still
Real
is.
controversial because
Yeah.
Pat Dye had some damning things to say
I
about
know,
about
yeah.
having her on the committee.
Well, she hitched her wagon to George W. Bush and got a lot of flack for that. But she's an
But
interesting
you know
woman.
what? If she knows college football, then
Oh.
she knows college
Huge
football.
sports fan. I sat
Well,
next.
it's not just about knowing college
Yeah.
football. I mean, she's good at. Yeah. All you have to do is just look at the eye test. I mean,
Yeah.
you know who the top programs are. I think it's not like she's making the decision all by herself.
Sure, no,
It's
the
a committee.
Yeah.
You know.
It's just one
I
person.
was going to say, I sat next to her during the big game, Cal Stanford big game back in the 90s, and talked about University of Denver, whatever, our old friends, but she is a huge fan of the game. I mean, and really knows it.
Well, that's why she
Yeah.
got nominated.
Yeah.
Okay, thoughts for the day. Lee Trevino said, "You can make a lot of money in this game. Just ask my ex-wives. Both of them are so rich that neither of their husbands work."
Oh, boy.
Casey Stengel said, "I was such a dangerous hitter, I even got intentional walks in batting practice."
Yeah, there you
I
go.
like that
Okay,
one.
tune in next week to Sports Econ 101. We're going to be discussing sports topics from a business perspective and giving away more free vacations for answering sports trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm your host, Edward Brown. We'll see you next week.
Good night, America.
So long.
All right. That was kind of fun.
That
Yeah.
was fun. I'm